Don't know if there's a buzzer beater in the works here, but here's kind of the timeline. April 10th, that Steve Ballmer group you heard Jim Huber refer to, deadline for their new arena financing to be presented. April 17th is when the NBA Board of Governors will vote on the Oklahoma City relocation proposal. That relocation committee has already toured that area. And June 16th, trial to determine if the Sonics ownership can break the key arena lease. Might be the best hope is that they tie that up in court for a couple of years and they're unable to do something, at least for those big folks with the SOS group. By the way, Clay Bennett was asked if he wanted to take part in this. We did request an interview, and he declined. Your thoughts on what you see there and the hopes that the Sonic fans hope and the hope that a guy like Lenny Wilkens has for keeping a franchise there in Seattle?
I've always believed that these owners who have all this money should split the bill 50-50 with the citizens. I mean, it shouldn't be like the citizens pay for all these new ballparks. That's a little bit unfair because these owners benefit the most. Does the Senate benefit? Of course it does. That's why I think it should be a 50-50 thing. But man, this is it's sad because Seattle's the toughest place I've ever played. Them people were nuts there. I mean, the crowd was sitting right there. It was a fun environment. They did get a little negative, but I always liked the negative. That made me play better. But it was the most hostile place. It was fun to play there. It's really unfortunate, but man, when they sell, I'm disappointed that the people from Seattle didn't come in and try to do this a lot sooner, because they're pretty much going to Oklahoma City right now, and that's unfortunate and sad, but I also think it's too late right now. And I played golf with Mr. Ballmer one time, very nice guy. But these guys, if they want to get involved, they should have did it a year or two. Because now, I think it's too late now, and that's sad.
Well, I think the one thing that you see the big business of basketball.
Sports.
You know,
it ain't just basketball.
Yeah, sports. Correct me. And the big business of sports. And I think that when it comes down to if players being traded, if it comes down to ownership moving, and it comes down to if your team wins, 95% of the time or 99% of the time, it's going to come down to the finances of making that happen. Teams are not going to spend a certain amount. Certain teams aren't going to spend a certain amount to bring certain players in. Certain players will get traded because of their contract, and teams will move because of the financial agreements that are met. Now, and hence, how do you make that middle ground there? I think the one thing that you have to do is, if that team moves, you could be like Charlotte, you know, where they have another team that came in after them and still can flourish. So I mean, Seattle is a town that can support an NBA franchise.
They have
and has for 41 years. So I wouldn't be as discouraged as the team leaving, but also encouraged, knowing that you do have the capabilities and the things in place to possibly draw someone else and being back at another franchise.
Yeah, and I think what sometimes gets lost here, this is not something that David Stern sits back and says, okay, well, you know, that's, you know, easy come, easy go. He has always said he takes it personally, and he views it as a failure of his regime when a team does move. And now we'll see if this.
But Bernie, I got, you know, we got the best commissioner in sports, but I just don't think it's fair. First of all these guys on this team, they got hundreds of millions of dollars. And I don't think it's fair when we make the fans pay for the entire ballparks. I don't think that's cool at all. It should be 50-50 because the guy who owns the team, he benefits, the city benefits, so it should be a 50-50, even a 60-40 thing with the fans paying 60%. But to come out year after year, they just got 2 new parks there, but to consistently ask poor people, that's what fans are, they're poor, to tax them to death, I just don't think that's fair.
So we could be down to the last 7 games in the history of the Seattle Sonics franchise.
It's going to be interesting how they break that lease, though. I was watching Judge Judy and Judge Joe Brown. Those leases ain't easy to break.
Oh, boy.
I guarantee you, Judge Judy and Judge Joe Brown won't let that happen.
You're telling me.